Welcome back, fellow adventurers, to a brand new video, and I first off want to apologize for not uploading last week, just through Gen Con madness and mayhem, and getting surgery in this week. I didn't really have a lot of time to, get a video thrown together. But I'm very happy to announce that today is the kickoff of a new series on this channel, really the first series that we're going to be doing, and it's going to be covering Tome of Horrors monsters from Frog God Games. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is picking through the Tome of Horrors and making videos on certain monsters, giving you insight to their stats, ecology of the monster, history of the monster, and maybe giving you a little bit of an encounter that you can run in your home game, or at least tips on how to run that monster in said encounter. Before I dive into it, first off, I want to say thank you to everyone subscribing to the channel. We're actually getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway once we hit 1,000 subs, so make sure to subscribe with post notifications on so you never miss a video and stay up to date on that giveaway. Second of all, if you don't have the Tome of Horrors, I really recommend picking it up through the Frog God Games website. You can pick up any of the versions in 5th edition, Pathfinder, Swords and Wizardry, whatever fits your home gaming table. In this series specifically, I'm most likely going to be talking about the 5th edition or Swords and Wizardry versions of this monsters, but it's going to be more general and not specific dive into stats, just a more overview version of the monster. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. The first monster that I'm going to be talking about today is the Cinder Knight. Now this is a monster from the Plane of Fire, and it is challenge rating 10, so it's pretty difficult to fight. Now let me remind you that if you're playing 5th edition, a group of 5th edition players against one monster itself isn't that much of a challenge, so you can always pair this monster up with maybe a dragon or fire giants or any other fire creatures that you see fit. Perhaps it's roaming around with a group of salamanders if you're playing on the Plane of Fire. However, my favorite use of this monster is actually going to be in the Prime Material Plane. How you can use this monster is sort of like just a roaming force of destruction that is, going hillside to hillside, town to town, just sort of decimating anything in its path. It is a very large monster. It's over 6 foot tall and over 200 pounds. So this is definitely intimidating to any commoner that it's going to see. Not even to mention the fact that it's burning fire inside of a suit of metal with a greatsword. Now, if you don't want to have this be its own antagonist and you'd rather it just be sort of like a bodyguard figure or just a supplementary monster, I would recommend, like I said, putting it with maybe a fire dragon, or if you are using the City of Brass, you can sauce it in the City of Brass wherever you see fit, and Tales from the Yawning Portal for 5th edition as well. If you're running the Giant series for 5th edition, I recommend putting in the Cinder Knight within the Fire Giant's Palace. Basically, just another really cool fire monster that uses a giant greatsword that does the greatsword damage. On top of it, does fire damage. On top of that, has a chance to catch on fire, or you have a chance to catch on fire and take more damage over time while still getting beat up by this greatsword. It's really cool. I recommend just throwing it in for just a little bit of a change up from your normal standard fire monsters. Moving on to monster number 2, I want to cover the Time Elemental in the Tome of Horrors. Now, usually when you think of elemental, you think, air, earth, fire, water, just sort of the main elements of the earth. However, a time elemental is a really cool idea because it's very different from a lot of the elementals or monstrosity figures, amalgamations that you would normally think of. It makes for an even cooler possible antagonist because it speaks via telepathy, so communicating with the group or players could be really fun and interesting. Now, the time elemental comes in 3 different kinds. The beginning one is common, and then it's noble and royal, so there's like 3 different challenge ratings as you move up. To me, the coolest ability that this monster has is the Alter Age ability. Now, in earlier editions, there was monsters and attacks that would alter the age, or level drain, age forward, anything like that. And I think it's really cool to include a monster in your game that has the chance to age a character. It's a really old school mechanic that is sort of forgotten and not used a lot in current editions. Now, I personally put the Alter Age mechanic back onto the common one, even though it is not initially listed in it, and then I just bump its challenge rating up 1 or 2. This monster can be used in pretty much any sort of situation because it is an amalgamation of time and space itself. It sort of has the ability to appear really anywhere based on its specific need, whether to sow seeds of destruction or, helping out a group maybe in exchange for temporal, out of this world rewards. Nonetheless, if you're wanting to put a spin on your game but still include the amazing, generic elementals, spice it up a little bit with the time elemental. The last and final monster that I want to cover in this video is the Dungeon Dragon. Now, this is probably my favorite dragon that I've ever seen created, ever. The really cool part about this dragon is it is a shapeshifter, polymorpher. Basically, it can take on a human or humanoid form and then sow seeds of destruction that way. The dungeon dragon really gets sort of like a high on life off of watching others pick each other apart. Often you'll see dungeon dragons infiltrate a group of player characters or maybe a town. They'll start to gain favor, maybe go on adventures with them, gain their trust, go on these epic adventures to see sort of what calamities work well and what doesn't work well. They'll then take those calamities or mechanics, traps, encounters, and put them in their own layer in order to lure the players back into their own layer to have more of a hard challenge for these characters. They don't really care about wealth as much, they're just more entertained by watching others basically pick each other apart. The struggle of life and death for a dungeon dragon, at least watching it, is very entertaining for them. It's different from the normal dragon because the treasure hoard is mainly just used as bait, as rather, a specific way of showing status. The only thing the dungeon dragon really cares the most about is a crystal ball, which it will use in its human form to watch the players sort of be driven mad or killed in their own lair. In any capacity that you use the dungeon dragon, it's a really cool way to introduce an NPC at first. The characters get to know them, be trusted by them, and then have that NPC being, sort of the main antagonist of this dungeon that they have to adventure into. Most of the time that NPCs turn out to, go from normal NPCs to turn out to be these major antagonists. It's usually sort of like a necromancer or a evil wizard or, just anything like that. Generally, they don't turn out to be dragons, which this is a really cool twist on that, old reliable, as we call it. So that's going to be it for me today in this video. If you have any other Tome of Horrors monsters that you would like me to cover, drop them down in the comment section down below. Smash a like on this video if you did enjoy it, and also subscribe because we are going to hit 1,000 subscribers very soon. And like I said, there's going to be a giveaway going out very soon as well with that. Thank you all so much for watching again, and welcome to the Tome of Horrors series that is going to be going on in this channel. I'm so excited to start it. It's going to be a nice little precursor into the future Lost Land series that's going to be coming out soon. With that being said, keep those rolls and spirits high, and we'll see you next time.